So, good evening to all my friends, and today I am again with another book. Now, this is Chitra Banerjee's book, The Palace of Illusions. You must be wondering why this book today, because I just came across this jewel last year and I just seemed to forget about it. And today again, I found the book and I was so thrilled to have it found again. So, if after so many months or suppose a year, if I find a book and I'm still thrilled to have it, that means it has a special place in my library out there. So now we'll talk about the author here. So Chitra is it's this Palace of Illusion she writes, where she mentions she tells the history. Okay, she retells the history from the perspective of Draupadi. So we all know Mahabharata, and we when we have read about Mahabharata and when we heard about Mahabharata, we've always heard about it from a man's point of view. And it is also that we have always heard about the Pandavas and the Kauravas, and we have known about their great fight over the kingdom issues. But how many of us know actually about Draupadi, or Panchali, very popularly known as, because she was married to the five brothers, the Pandavas? And this book is totally on her perspective, how she looks at the whole act of Mahabharata and what role does she play, and this important role she has to play, which leads to the whole creation of Mahabharata. So it's beautiful to look through the perspective of Draupadi and read about it in the book that she has written. Now, she's an Indian American author, she's a poet, and she writes about women, the challenges faced by immigrants, the history, myth. She writes about family and the joys and hardships of females in family living in multicultural world. So she is a very well read person, and she talks about multiple facets when she writes. So that is one of the reasons that has actually brought me closer to her book. So as I told you, that it's never from a women's perspective. The challenges that a female faced in the book of the Palace of Illusions, or the whole act of Mahabharata. So here is Draupadi's point of view. Now, she discusses Draupadi's relationship with Pandavas. She discusses it with her twin brother, her mother-in-law Kunti, her best friend Krishna, and her forbidden love Karna. So she is portrayed differently with each of the different characters, which are these all are important characters of Mahabharata, and what relationship she shares with each of them. It's beautifully explained here, and you would be surprised when you read the book that how come we have never thought from her point of view, or we've never even tried to portray the whole Mahabharata from a female's point of view. So that it basically, the book explains the role of a woman played in a world dominated by men, and it also gives a deeper understanding of every character of Mahabharata, because this is mainly on Draupadi. Okay, so from her eye, you eye the characters. You see all the characters from her eye. So Chitra has done an excellent job in researching Draupadi, and writing her life story in such an attention grabbing way that when you will start to read the book, you will realize that you want to finish it in one sitting. So this is a beautiful book, as I said. Further, let us go further. Now, what is the synopsis? I've already told you much about it, but then it's the reimagining of the world famous Indian epic, the Mahabharata, told from the point of view of an amazing woman. So Draupadi is an amazing woman. She plays a very important role in Mahabharata, as we all know. All Indians, we have heard from somewhere, or we have seen it in televisions, we've read about it in books, and we know that she plays a very important role. So it's from her point of view. That makes this book very special. So it is relevant to today's war-torn world. The Palace of Illusion takes us back to a time that is half history, half myth, and wholly magical. Okay, so it is narrated by Panchali Draupadi. She narrates the whole story, and the wife of legendary Pandava brothers. And this novel gives us the interpretation of this ancient tale. Okay, so it is, as I told you, it's a history retold. Now let's go to a little bit of more depth of what it is about. So it does not only tell you about Draupadi after getting married, right? It tells you about her life, her beginning with her birth in fire, following her spirited balancing act as a woman with five husbands who have cheated out of their father's kingdom. We all know the basic story. So how she balances with each of the brothers when she's married with each of them. So this is very intriguing, that how did she manage this, being wife to five brothers? We have always questioned this many times, but probably one can get the answer after reading this book, right? So she is swept with them into their quest of reclaim their birthright. So she is remaining at their side through years of exile. Okay, there has been this exile, a long exile, where she doesn't move from the sides of the Pandavas. She's a non-dying support to them, and a terrible civil war is involved with all important kings of India. So she's still there everywhere. Meanwhile, we never lose the sight of her strategic duels with her mother-in-law. So we never knew, we've never talked, or we've never been told about her relationships with Kunti. So here it is very beautifully portrayed what her relationship with her was like. And there was this enigmatic relationship she shared, the friendship she shared with Krishna, and her secret attraction, okay, to the mysterious man, who is, on the contrary, husband's dangerous enemy. Okay, so the Pandavas are dead against Karna. And when did she first saw him? How did she fall in love with him? And how did this secret attraction play a very important role in her life? So Panchali is a very fiery female. She's redefining for us a world of warriors, gods, and even manipulating hands of fate. So a lot of she's been played through fate here, and her each and every relationship is what leads to the war, right? So beautifully described and beautifully talked about. So this has actually added a new point of view to Mahabharata, because Chitra has given voice to Panchali. Now, till now, it was never the voice of Panchali. It was either Krishna or Arjun and the whole war that took place. But here, the female is giving voice to another female. So, do you think it's a feminist novel? This is a very common question asked when people read this book. So it is definitely a feminist writing. So the myths ate, revisioned, rewrote, and retold. Okay, so the whole thing is retold from a female point of view. So it has to have a different point of view, right? Whatever we have been told since today, it's very different from what it's her point of view. So it is very interesting to read this book because of this reason, that it is a female point of view book. The focus of the novel is on the inner life of a woman. So how the hardships that she goes through, how she gets married. There's a big reason why she gets married to these Pandavas, and it was already written in her destiny before she was born. And the way the whole Mahabharata is woven in her fate is beautifully explained by Deva Karuni, so Chitra. So why is it called Palace of Illusion? There's a reason that it is called Palace of Illusions, and we all know, right? The name of the novel comes from the architectural marvel that housed the Pandavas when they ruled Hastinapur. So it was full of optical tricks, okay, visual tricks. And when their cousins, the Kauravas, came to visit, they found themselves befuddled and lost. And that is where she laughed, and Draupadi commented, and the whole thing, the war thing happened. So that is why they made this beautiful palace of illusions. And that is why this is the main point where Draupadi is laughing, created the whole Mahabharata. And this took place in the Palace of Illusions. And that is why the book is named as Palace of Illusions. So I hope that this review will help you to understand this book, and it has created some urge for you to read this book. This book is very dear to me because first thing is that it's Mahabharata retold. So it is somewhere in our blood. We all have heard it, we've seen it, and we've read about it. So all of us will love the book. Another thing is that there are a lot many things that we already know because we've read about it, as I told you, and we've seen. So some of the beliefs that we have in our mind about Mahabharata are questioned when you read it through a female point of view. And again, the way she has portrayed Draupadi is mind boggling, because she has created her in a very beautiful way. She has created her in a dignified way, and you sometimes sympathize with her, you sometimes deject her, you can relate yourself as a woman with her so closely that all the women out there, when you read this book, you will really love it. So I hope you like this book and you like this review, and see you soon next week. Thank you all for joining me today, and have a good evening. Bye.